Hi everyone, welcome to another Heroes of the Grid Ranger video. Today I'm going to be continuing my coverage of the Light and Darkness expansion pack with Tyzonn, the Mercury Ranger. Now Tyzonn's deck consists of 3 shield cards, 4 2 shield cards, and 3 1 shield cards. Diving right in is his character ability, which is Mercurial Force. It says, once per battle, before any ranger rolls any number of dice, you may use this ability. If you do, convert all blank results rolled to critical hit results and vice versa. So it's important to keep in mind that you have to say whether you're using this ability before you roll. You can't roll and then say, oh, I decided to use Mercurial Force after you know what the results are. I mean, if you roll and but say, oh shoot, I activated before you know what the results are, sure. I mean, that's fine. It's like a house rule thing. I really like this ability because I am someone who tends to roll a lot of blanks. I mean, you're more likely to roll blanks than you are critical hits. You're twice as likely to roll a blank as you are a critical hit, just by how often they appear on the die. So being able to kind of stack the deck in your favor, if you will, is very good. I mean, it does have the drawback is if you do get very lucky and roll nothing but critical hits, then they all become blank results. I mean, but that's a risk. I mean, any game with dice is going to have risks, but I think this card is very powerful. You can only use it once, unfortunately, but I can see why. It pairs really well with other rangers that take advantage of either critical hits or blank results, because you can, regardless of what you roll, then somebody's taking advantage of that of your dice roll. But let's jump into his combat deck, and let's start with Chain Combo. It's 0 cost, 3 dice attack with 2 shields for defense. Its ability says, after rolling, remove 1 die from this attack. So as you can see, you're rolling 3 dice for nothing, which is higher than normal. So obviously the caveat being that you have to remove 1 die from the attack, so if you roll all critical hits, then you have to remove 1 of them, and you lose 2 of those. 2 of that damage because you don't. Since it's removed, it doesn't get applied to the target. But on the plus side, if you roll, 2, let's say, regular hits and 1 blank, you can remove the blank result, and now you just rolled 2 regular hits. No harm, no foul. I really like this card. It works really well with his character ability, because if you do roll 1 blank, you could turn it to a critical hit and then remove. Let's say just if you roll 2 regular hits and 1 blank, you could flip it to his blank result to a critical hit and then remove 1 of the regular 1 hit results. So now you're dealing 3 damage instead of just 2. Very good. His next card is Metal Sniper. It's an X cost 1 die attack with 3 shields for defense. Its ability says, add a number of dice to this attack equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. You may ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. So if you don't pay anything, you still roll 1 die, and you can ignore the guard keyword while using it, and I actually did take advantage of this during my game. I didn't pay anything, so I still rolled 1 die and was able to do some damage with it to take out, I think, a foot soldier, or at least deal some damage to it. It's a really good card. Adding dice, like I said, you can add dice, and the more dice you add, the more advantageous his Mercurial Force becomes. So you could potentially deal more damage, and if you can ignore the guard keyword, you can choose anything that's on the field. So this card has potential to be very powerful. His next card is Mercury Strike. It's a 1 cost, 2 dice attack with 1 shield for defense. His ability says, during this attack, convert all blank results rolled to critical hit results and vice versa. So this is a combat card version of his character ability. Unfortunately, you're rolling 1 less die than you normally do for paying 1 energy, but with the potential advantages, if you roll 2 blanks, then you're now dealing 4 damage. And unlike Chain Combo, you don't have to remove any dice. And the only way you could really miss with this card is if you roll 2 critical hits, then they become blank results. But that's very unlikely to happen. So I say, play this card whenever you can. I did, and it helped a lot. His next card is Mercury Guard. It's a 0 cost reaction card with 2 shields for defense. Its ability says, play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Roll 3 dice. For each die, you may either reduce that damage or gain energy equal to the damage results. So no, you have to roll regular damage results. You can't roll critical hit results to take advantage of this. But since you have 50% chance of rolling regular hits, and there's a good chance you're going to roll at least 1 or 2 single hit results, in which case you can either gain a couple energy, or reduce damage by 2, or you can even split it. You can gain 1 energy, reduce damage by 1, or however, depending on what you roll, you can split it how you want to use this card's ability. I used it a couple times. I didn't draw as much as I would have hoped, but It's still a really good card. I really love the picture on this. This is one of my favorite pictures in the game for some reason. I don't know why, but I just like that he's blocking, like, almost, I don't know if he's blocking or like going to reflect it or something, but it's really awesome. Moving on is his Mercury Overdrive. It's a zero-cost maneuver card with 1 shield for defense. Its ability says, until the end of this battle, each time a ranger rolls at least 1 critical hit result, gain 1 energy. Place this card on top of your deck instead of discarding it. So you can play this during any ranger turn. It doesn't have to be at the start of a battle. Once you play it, it does use up a ranger turn, but for the rest of the battle, anytime a ranger rolls at least 1 critical hit result, you gain 1 energy. So just keep in mind, if you roll multiple critical hits, if a ranger rolls multiple critical hits in one roll, they only gain 1 energy still. And this card goes back on top of your deck, so it can take some damage at least. It's not much because it's only 1 shield, but if you can add shields to it or get damage reduced, then it could be a good defense. I didn't get to use it in my game, but it's still a good card. Finally, we have his power weapon, the Drive Detector. It's a 3-cost, 5-dice attack with 3 shields for defense. Its ability says, after rolling, you may remove 1 die from this attack. If you do, any ranger may search their deck for a card, add it to their hand, and then shuffle their deck. 5 dice for 3 energy, that's pretty much like the power sword. That is the power sword, with obviously the difference being in their abilities. You can remove 1 die from this attack, and the removed die gets its damage taken away from the target that you chose, so keep that in mind. This also is kind of has the knowledge is power ability. A ranger can add a card to their hand and then shuffle the deck. I mean, it makes sense. It's his power weapon is a metal detector, so he can search for the ranger can search for any card that they want, add it to their hand, shuffle their deck. So if you're looking for Jared's Claws of Fire, you can always do that. Or if you're searching for another power weapon, like the Spinal Blade or Lunar Q, you could do that. Or the Power Axe. Give Zach or Adam the Power Axe, and you're set for the next turn. Really good card. I did use the Drive Detector in my game, and it helped a lot. And finally, next is his Zord card. It's actually 3 Zords in 1. The Rescue Runners. Its ability says, exhaust this card before any ranger rolls exactly 3 dice. Treat those dice as if they rolled 1 blank result, 1 regular hit result, and 1 critical hit result. As you can see, it does say before any ranger rolls exactly 3 dice. So they have to be rolling exactly 3 dice. If you add dice to the attack, well, this doesn't even have to be used for an attack. It can be used anytime any ranger rolls exactly 3 dice. But if you add dice to that roll, then this card doesn't work because they have to roll exactly 3 dice. The ranger doesn't actually roll the dice. They just treat as if you rolled it and you got these results, the ones that it says right there. I mean, you could theoretically use this in combination with Tyzonn's ability, but there's really no point because you're just changing the blank result to a critical hit and the critical hit back to a blank, so it's the same thing. But this card guarantees 3 damage. That's what this Zord does. It guarantees 3 damage, 1 for each Zord. And that's guaranteed 3 damage is invaluable in this game because you can easily take out majority of foot soldiers, maybe most likely finish off a monster, or even a boss card. And if you're able to add dice after the results have been rolled, then that becomes even better. Or if you have rangers that take advantage of blank results, you can guarantee that you have 1 blank result here. Or rangers that take advantage of critical hit results, you guaranteed a critical hit result here so they can take advantage of it. This is a very good Zord. I think it's actually one of the better Zords in the game because of its versatility. But again, it depends on which rangers you're using. For most rangers, it's just a guaranteed 3 damage, but if you have the right combination of teammates, then this Zord becomes a lot more valuable. As you can see from Tyzonn's entire deck, his whole thing revolves around blank and critical hit results. So you want to add as many dice as you can to your rolls with him because the more dice you have, the more likely you are to roll blanks to convert them to critical hit results. Again, you could always be unlucky and roll nothing but critical hits, and then his character ability kind of hurts you because now you're not dealing any damage. But still, I mean, I think it's well worth it. Like I said, you have more of a chance of rolling blanks than you do critical hits, so more often than not, you're going to actually gain from his ability, and like Mercury Strike, which does the same thing. His Zord card has guaranteed damage that allows other rangers to take advantage of the results. And then he can allow any ranger to add a card to their hand from their deck. So, I mean, he is a team player. Same with his Mercury guard, helps other rangers. provides energy for the team or reduces damage for them. And his Mercury Overdrive will also give some energy. So he is kind of an energy producer. A secondary, I guess, thing would be he produces energy for the team a little bit, not too much. Tyzonn's combat deck consists of 2 copies of Metal Sniper, 2 copies of Chain Combo, 2 copies of Mercury Guard, 2 copies of Mercury Strike, 1 copy of Mercury Overdrive, and 1 copy of Drive Detector. And that is Tyzonn. I hope you enjoyed the video and look forward to the next one. In the meantime, head on over to OnceRanger.com to check out the full card database, and I'll have affiliate links provided below. Thank you.